Today I'm gonna make for you my favorite vegan cornbread. Hi, I'm Jen from EPEC, Empower People, Empower Change. This is my most favorite vegan cornbread. Now, it derived from Dana Sly Blue Ribbon cornbread. Whoever you are, Dana, shout out. I don't know if you're a she or a he, but thank you for this amazing recipe. Now, I did put a little twist on it for my taste, so I'm gonna share with you what I do for that vegan cornbread. So some of the ingredients that are included in the vegan cornbread are almond milk, of course. We have some flour, we have some cornmeal. Now, these are not self-rising. These are just regular old-fashioned, old school, Southern flour and cornmeal. Now, I would say I do use spelt flour when I have it. I ran out and I'm so sorry. So I have to use all-purpose flour, the basic type of flour. What else I have? I have some sea salt. I have some flaxseed. All right. The recipe does call for ground flaxseed, so you can always buy that pre-grounded. I didn't have that, so I just grounded up some flaxseed in a blender. All right, so then I have some canola oil, some maple syrup, which I replace for the sugar that the recipe calls for, baking powder, and my most favorite addition to, yes, I always like to plant power it up. I have some peppers, green and red, and then some green onions. Yes, something I love to add in there. All right, so I'm gonna chop away and you'll see me then. All right, you guys, I was able to chop up my green peppers and red peppers and green onions. Delicious. Yes, these are going to go in the cornbread. So good. All right. So one thing about vegan cornbread is that you do use a flaxseed egg. Ever heard of that? Probably not. It is a vegan egg as far as not like you would scramble egg, but something you would put in baked goods. If you're baking something, you can use this in exchange for an egg in a lot of recipes. It actually brings a lot of moisture to the cornbread, cake, cupcakes, whatever you're using. I use it sometimes when I'm making vegan dishes, baked goods or something. So as you saw before, I didn't have pre-grounded flaxseed, but I just put it in a little blender and now I have grounded flaxseed. So easy, right? All right, so I'm gonna teach you how to make a vegan flaxseed egg. And this is what I want you to do to put in your vegan cornbread. Okay, we're gonna head over to the stove real quick so I can show you up close and personal what this sticky, icky mess will look like. Okay, so up close and personal. All right, so what we're gonna have, we have our water that we said we measured out. Look in the description for all the ingredients and measurements, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and pour my water in first. So all of you know how to turn on a stove. So the next thing you're gonna do is go ahead and turn on the stove, and you're gonna want this at high, okay? Because you want this to go ahead and boil. We're gonna fast forward this and get it boiling. All right, so it is boiling wildly, okay? So I have my measured flaxseed, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slowly put that in the water and turn it down some to about simmer and stir my flaxseed in. Just like this, okay? Go ahead and put the rest in there. Don't forget the measurements are in the description, okay, for this flaxseed egg. As you see, it's still boiling, and that's fine, but I did turn the stove down to like a simmer, low to simmer, okay? While this starts to thicken up. And this is a powerhouse of moisture, okay? What does flaxseed have in it? Tons of omega-3s, omega-6s, and it's amazing for your heart. Again, you know, we always talk about heart health here with EPEC, Empower People, Empower Change. So you want to take care of your heart, and flaxseed oil, flaxseed egg, flax seeds on yogurt and cereal is amazing. Okay, as you see, it's starting to thicken up. What I wanted you to see is it's going to start to get very like sticky looking. Okay, And that's what I want you to see. So I'm gonna still let it cook a little bit, okay? And while you're doing this, you need to make sure you're stirring or it's gonna stick to the bottom and burn. And we don't want it to burn. Burn, baby, burn. It's gonna burn. Don't pick on my singing, all right? All right, so as you see, it's still bubbling and it's getting so thick now. See that? This is what we want. It definitely makes the cornbread or whatever baked goods moisture, just like that's what eggs do. It provides moisture to whatever you're baking. So this is a vegan flaxseed. So if anybody else say, yeah, I've made a vegan flax egg before. You get kind of used to this stuff when you do it for so long. See, it's very sticky. Some people put this in their hair for gel. I haven't, but I know people that do. All right, so what I want to happen, I need this to cool off so I can put this in the cornbread mix. So I'm actually gonna turn off the eye and I'm gonna sit this aside. So let's get back to all the other ingredients. All right, okay, so here we go. Let's go ahead and mix our dry ingredients first. Now, if you use regular sugar, I'll put that as an option, but I prefer you not to. Let's go ahead and use another plant-based alternative like stevia, or we can use maple syrup, agave nectar. Now, if you're like, I don't like any of that and I only have honey in my house, that is not vegan. But if you're on your plant-based journey, go ahead. At least it's healthier than pure cane sugar, all right? So what we're gonna do is take our cornmeal, put it in your bowl and your flour. Again, your measurements are in the description. And I have my baking powder and sea salt here. So I'm gonna go ahead and dump that out in my dry mix. And at this time, again, if you use regular sugar, then you would put that in here as well. Now, don't laugh at my, this is my whisk. It came off of one of the blenders, you know, so I couldn't find my regular whisk. So we're gonna use it. All right, so what I'm gonna do at this point, I'm gonna just mix this all up together. Again, there are so many more healthier flours out there. I have coconut flour, I have almond flour. Again, I usually like to use spelt flour with my cornbread, but it's all good. It's all good. It's all about the journey. Don't you worry, it's all about the journey, all right? So we wanna mix this up very well with the salt, baking powder, cornmeal, and all-purpose flour. Teaching you how to make it from scratch, okay? This is like old school scratch, not the pre-mixed bag of everything cornbread, which you probably could make it, but it won't probably taste as good. Again, thank you, Dana Sly, whoever you are. I tweaked it a little bit, but it was still a great recipe. All right, so this should be good and mixed up together. So let's go ahead and mix our wet ingredients together. All right, so I have all my wet ingredients now. So that would be my maple syrup. I use the same measurement for the sugar. I just use maple syrup instead to make it easy, okay? Then I have my canola oil. You can use, I've used coconut oil in the past. I've used avocado oil. So again, you can use other plant-based oils. Okay, then I have my almond milk. And lastly, I have, you see, remember this flaxseed egg that we just made? Oh, it is so slimy. Very interesting, I know. But I'm gonna go ahead and stir my other wet ingredients up really quickly just to get those mixed up pretty well. And now I'm gonna add in my flaxseed egg. Scrape that all in your mix. Stick your egg. All right. Now I'm just gonna stir that together, okay? Until it's mixed very well. All right, I am gonna actually use my whisk that I use just to break up the flax egg a little bit, okay? So you can use that as well. All right, so I know that was like pretty fast, right? So what I want you to know about mixing up your flaxseed with your other liquid ingredients is make sure your flaxseed is broken up and it looks like liquid with the rest of the items in your bowl, okay? So you might have to stir a little while, but it's well worth it because you want the ground flaxseed to mesh well with the other ingredients in your wet ingredients. And using a whisk will assist with that. As you see, I'm also turning it as I'm stirring, whisking away to make sure all those ingredients are mixed up. And I'll use my spoon so you can see most of it is, see that? It's all mixed in, okay? So it looks like liquid just like the other ones, okay? All right, now that I'm done with that, so now I'm going to add my wet ingredients into my dry ingredients. Here we go. And slowly stir. Let's pour the rest of it in. Now I'm gonna stir away, okay? It's just like literally like making regular cornbread, old-fashioned style, homemade cornbread. It's starting to mix together. I'll give you a close-up in a moment. All right, so to give you a little close-up of the cornbread mix, looks like your regular old school cornbread. It's just vegan. All right, make sure that is all good. Now the last but not least, this is an addition. You could probably find some other recipes out there that add this as well. Your green onions, your green peppers, and your red peppers. Love this. Now I might not use all of them. So when you're slicing and dicing these, you just want to make sure they're dry. You don't want wet ingredients going into your cornbread mix because it's going to make your cornbread soggy, and that's a big no-no, okay? So my cornbread is looking amazing, mix looking amazing. So now I'm just going to start taking some ingredients and folding it into the mix, okay? Not too many. Pretty much looks like Christmas. All right, start folding this in here nice and gently. Again, you don't want too much, okay? Because you'll end up making everything soggy. All right, and so one more, I have some, of course, leftovers, but that's okay. These can always go into many other amazing recipes. So I'm gonna put one more handful in my mix. And again, I'm gonna gently fold it into the cornbread mix. Okay? Y'all can get a good up close and personal view of that. All right, looks like my cornbread mix looks amazing. I have my green peppers and everything in there. Now let's get our pan ready for the baking. All right, so it's time to get the pan ready for the baking, all right? So I have some avocado spray, propellant-free oil, thank goodness. But this is what I use for my baked goods. It comes with grapeseed oil and avocado, but this is what I use for spraying my stuff. All right, so you just wanna spray your pan. Really good to make sure you coat it all over. All right, so now all I'm gonna do is pour my mixture into the glass dish, okay? And make sure that it evenly spreads out. Looks like Christmas. This vegan cornbread is so delicious for a lot of other recipes. If you're making vegan chili, if you're making some soup, any type of vegetable soup, it's delicious. It goes well with a lot of different things. All right, so what I'm gonna do is, while this is baking in the oven, I do have my oven preheating right now at 425. Again, I'll put all that in the description. That's preheating. So while this is baking, I probably will sprinkle a little bit more garnish, some of the vegetables on top when it's almost done. All right, so this looks good. This is settled down in the pan, and it's time to put it in the oven, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. All right, so the vegan cornbread is good with the extra ingredients as well as my little tweak on the ingredients. I'm gonna give you a close-up, but we'll give you another close-up soon. You see all the peppers and green onions in it as well. So that's it. I totally want you to try this because it is so delicious, as well as a lot of plant power, especially if you use that spelt flour like I told you earlier. So if you like this vegan cornbread, please try it, okay? Like and subscribe for future recipes that I make. This edition right here can go with many of the vegan recipes that I'm gonna be making in the future. So hope to see you soon. Bye.